الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد, so we will now come into the second lecture on our Aqeedah Waasitiyyah, and we'll be entering into now the Aqeedah of Ahl Sunnah in some detail. But before I start, I'd like to apologize to the sisters. I understand that you can't hear the questions of the brothers, so I will, inshallah, remember to repeat their questions before I answer them. So my apologies to them. Earlier we were discussing that Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned that the Aqeedah, or the creed, or the faith of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is based upon 6 pillars. Now, when we talk about these 6 pillars, each pillar in itself one can write volumes about. However, though, the scholars of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah used to point out those issues in which the other groups of the Ummah, the other sects in this community, in this nation, in this Ummah, differed with them in, which they deviated with them in. So for instance, if we look at the Aqeedah Waasitiyyah, we won't find a section concerning belief in the angels. Yes, Shaykh al-Islam mentioned in the beginning, in the introduction, that Iman, that their Aqeedah is Iman in Allah and in His angels. But we don't find him discussing faith in the angels in detail. Why? Well, because belief in the angels, denial of the angels, was something which very few insignificant people in this ummah did deny the angels or deny something about the angels. And therefore, there was really no reason to discuss that. You see? You won't find in Al-Aqeedah Al-Waasitiyyah, for instance, a mention that Allah's Sharia should be ruled by with. Alaykum as-salam. Why? Because in that time, there was no question in the minds of the Muslims, in the minds of the different Islamic sects, even the deviant sects, that Allah's Sharia has to be ruled by. As far as today, this is a question which many people have misunderstandings and misgivings concerning. Among the Muslims, and of course, among the non-Muslims, they accuse that the Sharia is barbaric and so forth and so on, as to be expected from them. But the point is that the scholars would only discuss those issues in which there was great debate in their time. So for instance, there might be issues now in Aqeedah which, in our day, Ibn Taymiyyah died in the year 728. The year 728. What year are we in now? 1414. So we're almost 700 years since the time of his death. Almost 700 years since the time of his death. Obviously, in these 700 years, other issues in the Aqeedah have become prominent. You see, in which there is a difference of opinion concerning the Muslims. So we should understand also the light in which this Aqeedah was written in. However, though, we may say with all certainty that every single issue which Ibn Taymiyyah discusses in this book of Aqeedah Al-Waasitiyyah, Muslims still today discuss and still argue about. So none of these issues are now no longer valid. You see, one must understand that when deviation occurs, usually the people do not go back upon the deviation, but more deviation happens. So that the issues in the time of the Sahaba was only one issue of deviation, with the Khawarij. In the early part of the Sahaba, they broke off from the Jama'ah of the Muslims, and they were calling people disbelievers, infidels, kafirs because of their sins. Later on, the Qadariyah appeared in the end of the age of the Sahaba, saying that Allah, they disbelieving in Qadr, and saying that man does whatever he wants to do, whether Allah decrees it or not. His action becomes complete, or is fulfilled. And later on, the Shia appeared, and the Jahmiyyah, and so forth and so on from different sects. So what happens is as the centuries go by, as the years go by, more deviation occurs. So what we're saying in Aqeedah Waasitiyyah, nobody should say, well, these issues maybe were 700 years ago, they're no longer important for us to study. All these issues are still current in the Islamic world. All these deviations are still in the Islamic world. And we need to know about them and study the correct beliefs concerning them. And in addition, we have to study other issues which were not apparent in Ibn Taymiyyah's time, which have occurred since his time, deviations in Aqeedah. So the point is that there are other issues which we need to investigate, but this is a good introduction for us in the study of the Aqeedah. So Ibn Taymiyyah, after describing faith of those 6 pillars, he then discusses some of these pillars in detail. And he says, ومن الإيمان بالله الإيمان بما وصف به نفسه الإيمان بما وصف به نفسه في كتابه وبما وصف به رسوله من غير تحريف ولا تعطيل ومن غير تكييف ولا تمثيل. Ibn Taymiyyah says, part of Iman in Allah, from faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So remember that I've mentioned that faith in Allah has 4 parts to it. To believe in Allah's existence, and to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator, the sustainer, and the giver of life and death, the second category. Third category is to believe that only Allah is to be worshipped, and to give all our acts of worship to Allah. And fourth category is to believe in Allah's names and attributes. And that's what Ibn Taymiyyah is going to discuss now. He says part of faith in Allah is to believe in what Allah has described himself by in his book, and in what his messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described him by, without tahrif, without ta'qeel, without takyif, and without tamtheel. So this is the rule, the principle of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah concerning this subject. That they describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by everything which Allah has described himself by in the Qur'an, and by everything which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described Allah by in the authentic Sunnah. However, they avoid in that 4 matters: tahrif, ta'qeel, takyif, and tamtheel. And these are 4 terms of the Sharia which I will explain one by one. As far as tahrif, we may translate this in English as distortion. And it is of 2 types. One is to distort Allah's names and attributes by changing the actual names and attributes, changing the actual text of the Qur'an and the Sunnah. One Islamic sect, deviant sect, who are known by the name of al-Mu'tazila, denied that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks. They denied this attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, they deny that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to Moses, as mentioned in the Qur'an. So in the verse of the Qur'an it says, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. These Mu'tazila, when they would recite this verse, they would say, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهَ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. By changing this last diacritical mark upon the Allah and changing it from Allahu to Allaha, the sentence, this verse doesn't become Allah spoke to Moses directly, it becomes Moses spoke to Allah directly. And this is how they would deal with. They would try to change the verses of the Qur'an, and they wouldn't recite them properly intentionally in Salah, and likewise they would change the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ by changing the meanings of them, by changing the wordings of them. However, this is difficult to do in this ummah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has preserved the book, His scripture, and has also preserved His sunnah from this type of corruption by changing the actual wording of it, changing the text of it. So what they would do, most of these sects, is that they would distort them, they would make tahrif in the meaning. And an example is when Allah in the Qur'an says in 7 verses in His book, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-'arsh istawa, that He is Allah Ar-Rahman, who upon His throne istawa. Istawa means that He's above His throne, He is higher than His throne, and He has risen above the throne. What means of this meaning, the word istawa? They would say istawa means istawla. which means he conquered the throne. Here they are not, when they recite the verse, they would say, Ar-Rahmanu ala arsh istawa. They would recite it properly, but they would make distortion of the meaning, and they would say, istawla. It means istawla, it means that he conquered the throne. So this is tahrif. And the people who use it usually try to give it an excuse to this. They call it ta'weed. They call their action of tahrif ta'weed. Ta'weed literally means tafsir. Tafsir and ta'weed, or explanation, is the same. But what they try to do is they say that these verses are figurative in meaning, and therefore they try to find another meaning to it. So Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, when they describe Allah, they describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala literally as He has described Himself in the Qur'an, and as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described Him in the Sunnah, without making tahrif. Whether tahrif is changing the text of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like some of the Mu'tazila would say وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهَ instead of وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ Musa تَسْلِيمًا, to make it that Musa is talking to Allah and not Allah talking to Musa. Or likewise making tahrif in meaning by changing the literal meanings of the descriptions of Allah, the attributes of Allah, to another meaning which is not in the Arabic language, a meaning of their own which they have invented for themselves. The second thing which Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah preserves their faith in Allah's name and attributes from is ta'qeed. And ta'qeed literally means to make something devoid, make something empty, make something no longer there. In this sense, it means to deny, to negate, to deny, to negate. So Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah describes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala literally as He has described Himself and as the Prophet Muhammad has described Him, without distorting the passages or the meanings of the passages, and without denying the passages and the meanings of the passages. Some of the Islamic atheist sects would deny Allah's name. They would say Allah is not upon His throne, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a face, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have two hands, Allah does not hear, Allah does not see, and so forth and so on. They would deny Allah's name and attributes. So Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah preserves themselves from that. Now, every tahrif, every distortion is a ta'qeed in actuality. Because when you say that the meaning of this verse describing Allah, or the meaning of this narration describing Allah, and you give it a new meaning from your own accord, not the literal meaning, you've made ta'qeed, you've denied the literal meaning. But you have given it, you substituted the little meaning with another meaning. The difference between ta'qeed and tahrif is that ta'qeed is just a denial, and not substituted with another meaning. But tahrif is to substitute it with another meaning. So every tahrif is a ta'qeed, but not necessarily every ta'qeed is a ta'qeed. That's the difference between the two. Ibn Taymiyyah also says that they preserve their faith, that they describe Allah as He described Himself, and as the Prophet ﷺ has described Him, without tahrif, which you now know what it means, without ta'qeed, which you now know what it means, and also without takdeem. Takdeem means to take out Allah's name and attributes. Allah says, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِهِ عِلْمًا, that they do not encompass Him in knowledge. All we know of Allah is what Allah has told us about. All we know of Allah is what Allah has told us of Himself, whether by way of the Qur'an or by the Sunnah. So therefore, we cannot say how is Allah's name. Just like we cannot say how for other matters of the belief of the unseen. Somebody might ask, well, here's the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which says that when a person is placed in his grave, either the grave will expand or will compress on that person. The believers, the righteous, they will expand for them, some as far as their eyesight can see, and others it will compress them, crushing their bones. This is part of the punishment of the grave for some. May Allah protect us from that. Now, somebody might say, well, if we were to dig up a grave, we wouldn't see the grave would be the same size as the person who digged it. Neither expanded nor compressed. So therefore, how is the grave static and how is the grave compression? We say these are matters we unseen. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how this has happened. Even though we cannot see by ourselves, we believe that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us. We believe Allah is all powerful. And we believe that the activity is it, what happens to the person is in that boundary between this life and the next life. So how this happens, only Allah knows. We believe it, and we understand implicitly. A man's grave expands, or a man's grave compresses. And likewise, Allah's name is Hassan. He's not saying how. And we all, or many of us might know the story, when Imam Malik was teaching people in the masjid, in the Prophet's masjid, and a man came to him and said, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-'abd istawa. Kayfa istawa? He recited the verse of the Qur'an that Allah, the merciful Rahman, has mounted upon his throne or above his throne. And he said, how has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala done this? Imam Malik became very angry. And his face became red, and he started sweating. It's very evil thing. How? And he said, Al-Istiwa'u ma'lum. The meaning of this is no. We're Arabs, we speak Arabic. So Al-Istiwa that Allah is about to explain is something which we understand. Wal-Kayfu majhul. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mounted upon his throne, unknown to us. والسؤال عنه بدعة. And to ask how is a bid'ah. And then he said, I do not see you except as an evil man and ask him to be removed from the circle. So the point is that the Salaf understood, and this same response has been given upon Rabi', who was Rabi'ah, who was Imam Malik, Shaykh, and has also been quoted upon Salama, one of the Prophet's wives, although that narration has some weakness in it. But the point is that to ask how is something which is impossible for us to know. Because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how he is, as we were discussing in the short bit. So the point is we preserve our faith, we describe Allah as he has described himself in the Qur'an, and as the Prophet has described him in authentic sunnah, without distorting that, whether the literal text distorting the words or the meaning, or denying that, or saying that, or the fourth thing, at-Tamimi, which means to liken Allah with his creation. Allah in the Qur'an says, "Laysa kamithlihi shay." There is nothing which is like him. And all of you, I'm sure, have memorized Surah Al-Ikhlas. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There is none who is similar or equal to him. So the point is that although we affirm these names and attributes to Allah, we say they are affirmed to Allah literally in a manner which befits Allah. That Allah does not resemble his creation. So when we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears, Allah hears everything, and his hearing is in a manner which in a manner which befits his nature, befits his essence, befits him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And human beings hear, Allah has given them the ability to hear, he has created that in them, and human beings hear in a manner which befits their nature, their essence, and their existence. And likewise Allah sees, and Allah knows in a manner which befits him. We do not say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees and hears and knows like we hear and see and know. This is tamtheel, and this we must deny. We must reject. So the guiding principle in this subject of Allah's attributes, Allah's sifat, His qualities, is that we describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by whatever He has described Himself by, and by whatever his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described him by in the authentic sunnah, without forcing, without tahrif, which means to distort the actual text, or the actual text or the meaning, or ta'qeel, which means to deny, or takyif, which means to say how, or tamtheel, which means to liken Allah with his creation. And then Shaykh al-Islam says, بل يؤمنون بأن الله سبحانه ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير فلا ينفون عنه ما وصف به نفسه ولا يحرفون الكلمة عن مواضعه ولا يلحدون في أسماء الله وآياته ولا يكيفون ولا يمثلون صفاته بصفات خلقه لأنه سبحانه لا سمي له ولا كفء له ولا ند له ولا يقاس بخلقه سبحانه وتعالى فإنه أعلم بنفسه وبغيره وأصدق قيلا وأحسن حديثا من خلقه ثم رسله صادقون مصدقون بخلاف الذين يقولون عليه ما لا يعلمون ولهذا قال سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين فسبح نفسه عما وصفوا به المخالفون للرسل وسلم على المرسلين بسلامة ما قالوه من النقص والعيب وهو نعم. So what the Shaykh says in this paragraph is he basically explains those four things in a little bit more detail. And he says, therefore, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is nothing like him, and he is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. This verse is from Surah Shura, verse 42nd Surah in the Qur'an, verse 11. What does this verse show us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this verse says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. Allah negates in this verse that anything is like him. Anything is equal to him. Anything resembles him. And then he says, وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ, that he is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. So it's our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of his attributes is between negation and affirmation. We negate from Allah any resemblance, but we affirm to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that what he has affirmed to himself and what his Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has affirmed for him. So therefore, we believe that there is nothing like Allah, but that Allah is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the scholars have mentioned, has mentioned these two names and attributes after negating from him any equal or any semblance with anything, to show us that he hears and he sees in a manner which befits him, not like anything of the creation. So therefore, Ibn Taymiyyah says, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah do not negate from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what he has described himself with, nor do they corrupt يحرفون, which comes from the word tahrif, what the passages, the meanings and the passages of the Qur'an and Sunnah from what they mean, nor do they commit ilhad in Allah's name and his sign. So what is ilhad? What are you doing? What does ilhad mean? Ilhad literally means to swerve. Ilhad literally means the Arabic language to swerve. And concerning Allah's name, ilhad means to come with a belief concerning Allah's name different than the correct belief. And ilhad is a five type, or four type. The first type is that one rejects any of Allah's names. Any of Allah's names. For instance, we know that the pagan Arabs denied Ar-Rahman. The name Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman. Allah says in the Qur'an, وَهُمْ يَكْفُرُونَ بِالرَّحْمَنِ وَهُمْ يَكْفُرُونَ بِالرَّحْمَنِ. And they disbelieve in the name Ar-Rahman. When the Prophet Muhammad mentioned Ar-Rahman, he said, who is Ar-Rahman? You know, nobody's called Rahman except for Rahman of Yamama, which is Musaylat al-Kazzab. Yamama is the area of Central Arabia. So they disbelieve in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the first type of ilhad. To disbelieve in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second type of ilhad is to disbelieve in the attributes which that name includes. So for instance, somebody says, yes, I believe that Allah is Samir, which means the all-hearing, but I don't believe Allah hears. He believes in the name outwardly, but he doesn't believe in the meaning of that name, the attributes which it includes. That is the second type of ilhad. The third type of ilhad is that somebody names Allah, gives a name to Allah, which Allah has not named himself with. Like the Christians, who call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Father. We call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Father. This is the third type of ilhad. The fourth type of ilhad is to believe in Allah's name in a meaning which resembles the creation. So to say that Allah is Basir, but say that he looks and he sees like human beings look. This is the fourth type of ilhad. And the fifth type of ilhad is to derive from Allah's name names which one applies to the idol. Like the pagan Arabs, they took Allah's name Allah and they applied it to an idol and called it at-La. They made a feminine derivative of Allah. And they took Allah's name al-Aziz and they made a feminine derivative, they called it al-Uzza. They applied to one of their idols. And they took Allah's name al-Mannan and they made a feminine derivative, they called it al-Mannan. They applied to one of their idols. That's the fifth type of ilhad. You take one of Allah's names and make some sort of, derivative of it, or to apply one of Allah's names to an idol, or one of the two. As far as ilhad in Allah's signs, in Allah's ayat, they do not commit ilhad in His name and in His ayat. We should know that Allah's ayat are two types. There are an ayat al-kawniyah, His signs dealing with creation. And ilhad in that is to attribute that somebody else created the creation. Like for instance, somebody can say that Jesus Christ, He's the one who created the heavens. That's ilhad in Allah's ayat. Ilhad in Allah, in His creation, in His creation. Ilhad in Allah's other ayat, the ayat is our first, like the Qur'an, ayat is our first, the ayat is shar'iyya, the ayat is a part of His laws and regulations. This is to either deny it, or to go against it, or to from His meaning, and so on. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, says that they do not make ilhad in His ayat, over here, saying they do not make ilhad on Allah's ayat, both ayat. Allah's created ayat, that's like the sun and the moon, that happens in earth, not that in the other creation, that or gives an existence. And likewise, ilhad in Allah's Sharia ayat, that command and His prohibitions, we do not deny them or go against them or meaning. That's all ilhad. And then even when He says they do not like that, they do not set out for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do not say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees like this, hears like this, when out. Nor is Allah like in His attributes to the attributes of creation. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has Allah
راح تطلع الأخوة أصلا الله يقول يا مكان ويسرون يقول يتنصبوا والعشان راح تطلع سادنا ولا عاد يتنصبوا الله انت يقول يتنصبوا والله نوالي يشرح ما يتنصبوا والله أنا يتنصبوا الله ويسنا أريد يو رأيو الله يجب أن يجب يبقى الله يسوي كيسي ويجعل بدور عائق ويسعى تكون وراء أو يوم لا لا والله لا أنا كان هذا جد اللي أعرف اللي أحد أنا كان هذا جد معروف يعني ما يسمعه فلا عاد ولا تسوى لا أما تقولون تقولون أما تقولون يتنظرني أفتحات لأنه يعني ويقولون أفراح الاتحادات وإنه ما أفهم يعني أنا أعطيت ليش ما يلامن بيقولونه أفراح الكلى أضاف الكلى أجيب عواقب بيقولونه أفراح الكلى من الأطراف ومن الأطراف ومن الناس الروم في كذولا وملكين كيف وفيش بالقوة لا واحنا نقوم بكده لا احنا نقوم على الله صحابه اللي بتقول واحنا خلاص نتجوز في تحليل وانيو تحليل يا نوصل بحروف ودحليل ده هو بتاعلم اللي نوصل ده اللي نوصل اللي ليش نروح وقفوا لا اللي طلعت لا الشيء وين فيه عن حركة حروف اللي بتاع هذه اسمه إيه هذه نفسه نفسه بتاع هذا Telling the people about what the guys in down and all the get in the city. That's why you live with me. You come with me, no watch. See you. You come. You wish you went to watch, so you come to about all over it in it. You come to the dollar. You call them how about it to try. One to the city. It's it. Over it with the note. No, over the top of the contact. The guy is doing the note. Good note. I do it. I do it. Giáo dân cho dừng đến việc là các cái việc là các cái giáo đi là các đi người cái là cái cho dừng yes you know what let's up so the fact is we can't just know what we can't know all for the characters you have to meaning let's get out of we charging it we charge them medicine okay, that I can go over and do this now, because you back down him. Make him nervous. That is that. Yeah, there's nothing else. I guess I'll flip. If you got this class, come on. I can't tell myself nervous, so I just now tell her after I go off. Because you know, it's not over, but this is the help. It's exactly and all over the field now to the inner. Oh, Steve.
وأنا سيدي أدخ بعد من جدنا أو ناخد جناح وان ياسلت نمطك لكن لو أنا يشوف من أبغى من
فلقي أو الله خاطر يجي يسوي لك نولك إذا هل تدور من بك خاطر تدرس لو كان أو خاطر قبل ودراسة تسيطي وخاطر يجي خاطر إسماء يا بتسيطي بول خاطر خاطر تسيطي يفتي خالص وغني أو Allah Ta'ala mengatakan wala tusabbih apa sih kan itu wala tusabbih Abu Sa'id wa Ibn وان هاي والله هذا يجيب أنا لو أدري أنا عشرة والله إلا وتجيب له شيء وتجيب له إشراك بالكلام وتجيب له الرجل الله برجله يا سيدي يا كان هاي الله سبحانه ما لو كنت بتنا والله يبغى أو خير ويتصرف على ذكاء ذا وتلاقي يقول من الله يوكان أو مسلم يجي أو مسلم يلعب بالسواد لينا وقمت إلى البلاد لنا من بالسواد لينا النص على الصعود لينا وقال لهم في الليل في جملة إجابة في جاوية في جاوية في جاوية في جاوية في جاوية هذا بتاع الرافضة دين النص دين اللي بيجي لها النص نقدر نعيشها يبدأ بدعوة أو يبدأ يبدأ أو في زمن الزهد أو فاتر جدا بكمت يقول الحق السنة وأقولني لكذلك يجرينا والمجلسين التي سائلوك في بلاد بلاد في شعائك في أوراق في إسلام في الحياة وتسجيل يوصل في طابقي في كتاب الجنة يعني غزولتنا نعوذ بك أجيئت ما يحب يجي كيف يجي على عشرة قوم عشرة قوم يقول قوم قليل كذا قوم قليل يا إيش يا أبو what do you think قوم قليل كذا أي قوم كذا أي كانت تجنيد مات يا شاعر عشرة قوم يا في الواحد كذا شاعر والنجم الجسر بدون ولي أن هذا العسلة وطاقنا الشاب ناظر لو أبوها نكمله وهو في رجل يأتي كما تكير والنجم قاتل نفسه جميل قاتل نفسه بالعشرة تطور آخر الطبيع وتكبير هذا ثلاث موزر وذلك يجب تعاطي الجسد لا بد من الانتظام ولا بد من يعطي صنوع بالرجل أو بني أبي أو بني عادي بني لا وجود يعني كتب أو نجم أو نجم ولا نجم ولا أو نجم راح يجي أو تبقى أو بيعطى أو بيعطى أو بيعطى أو كابي يا كابي كم يا كابي كم نجم كابي أنا أدري شو أنا أدري جاب أنا أدري شو أنا أدري كابي الله أقول لك هو كبير أيوه يبرد يشرح يبرد مميز لو نقدرنا يدفع من الجنة هنا دي ريدي نو دي كيف بدي أنا عشرة الله يزيد الله دعوة بالحالي لأنه هو عم يقول لك مكان لو قبل عم يقول لك مكان بدرسه عم يقول لك في عاجل عم يقول لك خلاص يوم الثلاث ينام عم يقول لك يا وجود الله كمان الذي يقول لك المسيح اللي عشرة الله إلى سنة ولا يقول لا ولا يبقى قاومنا يبقى قاومة يأذنه يأذنه يتحمل يدفن قاضي الله هاي قاضي الله يوم قاضي الله يوم قاضي الله يأذنه أنا أقول لك الله يأذن أي جائز ناسي يوم إذا بغيت All the people that are here, yeah, what, here and what, here we go, it's like you walk all of it, and it's just here, but in it. You can't do it, it's not, but it's yourself. Oh, what the fuck, what? It's here for the cup. I'm not going to get out, I'm ready. I'll let this one go to that. اثنين بالفرد الأولي هاي نتمنى العسرة هاي لقب هاي توفيق لإيه نعم بيعد حاول تتغلق الملو هاي توفيق التعليق قد بيعد أكيد في مسكين هذه النجم صوت من مسيجني صوت من مسيجني ما مخل إذا حتى يوم قصير صوت من مسيجني فلا قد بتاعت دور ما عرفنا فيه يعني الصاحب يتسجن يتواجه اثنين متجاوز لا هرعة تطلقت لا تريني جبر.
So the brother is asking when we read the verse Ar-Rahmanu ala Jawah. Some of the translators translated that it is the merciful who has firmly established or established himself upon the throne. Ibn al-Qayyim in his book of explaining the Aqeedah in poetry called the Nuniyah, he says they have four expressions to set up which to explain what the word istiwa is, literally narrative finding. The first one is ala, that he's above. And the second one is sa'ada, that he has arisen. And the third one is fawq, which also he's above, or higher. And the fourth one is taqarra, that he has settled. However, some scholars have a problem with this fourth one. And they say that this interprets this fourth meaning is not really going to be out of sight. So depending upon that, you could say that firmly established is either a correct translation or incorrect translation. That if the fourth meaning for istiwa is taharra, which refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Ibn al-Qayyim says, when it means istiwa, then to establish upon the throne, I think the meaning is taharra, close, settled, established, and so forth. And at least in my mind, the English language, there's some similarity in that. I could be mistaken. I mean, one has to really go open some dictionaries and see what the word established means, see how close it is to the word settled, and it's taharra. So it seems to me that there's no problem with that. However, there's this other opinion that if taharra is not from the meaning of istiwa, then it's really an incorrect translation. So Allah knows. Yes, brother.
What do you do, or what is the thing happening for the history first brothers deny
what does this word mean? And you say, I don't know. And then you explain to them this word, an English word. Let's say a big English word that some people, only two people might know the meaning of it. A difficult English word. So somebody says, I don't know what it means, and you say, well, it means such and such. He says, well, I don't believe it. I mean, how can that be? I mean, if you don't know what the word means, how can you deny the other explanation? So this is just seems to me, I mean, if they don't have another meaning to the verse, another explanation, and yet at the same time, they are denying the translation for no reason. This seems to be just argumentative and ignorant.
even if this is quiet, not waste time in this sort of manner with them, or sit with them and slowly educate them.
Yeah, I mean, one has to be patient with the people. If people are obstinate, if people are arrogant, if people are ignorant, one must be patient with them. You know, our job, you know, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us and has guided us to the truth, and we want to invite others to the truth. Had Allah not guided us, we would have also been astray. But Allah, out of His mercy, has guided us to the truth. So we want to guide the others. Our job is not to be overbearing upon people, to be condemning people, to be arbitrators, saying who's going to go to paradise and who's going to go to hell. This is not our job. Our job is only to spread what we've learned. And when you want to teach somebody, you have to be patient, you have to be kind, sometimes you want to fight, arrogant or obstinate. And
and let's just pray for their guidance and, treat them well. Gentleness is always needed. People need to be gentle and gentle. That's what. For any of the companions who punished their braves. This is something which the ulama have not talked about and have not discussed, and to enter into this topic, I think, is open the door of but it's such that we trust that we decide to speak to the topic.
That's right.
In describing Allah and Him, is it right that somebody to say what Allah can do anything? It is a good thing to say, a good say to you, Allah can do anything.
The brother is asking, can we say that Allah can do anything? The Qur'an says, وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, that He is upon everything capable. But the point is, what is the word thing over here means? Thing here means from that which is possible. That which is possible. Whether it's possible. When Allah says, وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ, this means Allah knows that which is not. That had it been, how would it have been? Person, I'm now in wonder. Had I not come, what would have happened? Allah knows. And likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the impossible, something which is impossible to occur. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an that if there was more than one deity, the heavens and the earth would become corrupt. This is something impossible, but Allah is telling us that if it was to have been, what would have occurred? You see? So Allah knows what has, past, what is now, what is in the future, what has not come to pass, because He has not decreed it to occur. Had it come, but He didn't know if it was possible, that is impossible to occur. As for when we say Allah is upon everything capable, it's inclusive of that which is possible. That which is possible. So therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of everything which is possible. Whether it occurs or doesn't occur. He's capable of things in fact. As far as that which is impossible, it's only the mind imagining, and it's impossible to have any existence in reality. This doesn't enter into that. And I'll give you an example. They say, for instance, the atheists, when they try to argue with you concerning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they always come with this argument, can Allah create a stone which He cannot raise? You see what I'm saying? And then if you say no, then they'll say, okay, you're saying that Allah is not capable of everything, so why should we worship Him? And if you say yes, then therefore there's something greater than Allah, so why should we worship Him? This question is false from the beginning, because anything which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates is going to be weaker than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and its existence is going to be relying upon Allah. There is nothing from the creation which can be greater than the creator. And to suppose that is just something which is in the mind, but can never have anything in existence, in reality. It never comes to existence, this thing. So therefore, when we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of doing everything, or that He's upon everything capable, as He says in the Qur'an, وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, it means from that which has a possibility of existing, not that which is impossible to exist. Not that which is impossible to exist. As far as something which is non-existent, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't decreed its existence, but it's possible of its existence, Allah is capable of doing that, had He will, but for which He didn't want to do it. Understand that?
Then he says, well, it seems very dangerous, but I want to clarify how dangerous it is and how irrelevant it is. Yeah? Then he says, he speaks about a triangle. Okay? And then he says, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot create a four-sided triangle. I can't really see the point from where he's coming from, but he said the statement that even Allah cannot create a four-sided triangle. So basically, like, how irrelevant and how dangerous is that of the statement that he said.
Obviously, we said that which is impossible for it to ever exist, that doesn't fit into the verse وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, that he's upon everything which is capable. But why would somebody want to mention that thing which is impossible and refer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Except if there's some sickness in his heart, like a four-sided triangle. That's obviously an impossibility. Why? Because a triangle by definition has three sides. So say four sides is something which is impossible. It's no longer a triangle. So to say this, only a man who is sick in his heart would want to bring this about. Why would a person who is astray, that wants to put doubt in the hearts of the believers, a Satan, a devil, like the writer of this article, he's a shaitan, who is trying to bring these arguments to set people astray. Because when most people read this, you see, they don't understand Aqeedah to such detail concerning the contingent and the impossible and that which exists and which doesn't exist. Very fine parts of the Aqeedah. Most people believe that Allah is rule for everything upon their fitrah, and that's how it is. So they bring these type of arguments to doubt in the hearts of the people in order to make them doubtful of their faith. And so this is just a shaitan setting people astray.
The teachings upon this way listed there.
No. It's not the question. That's not the point over here. He's denying that Allah to be all created. The point is, the laws of nature. You see, triangle, right? You could triangle two sides, right? That's what the definition which we have placed upon the triangle. Okay, that's two sides. It's just something which we, a convention, which human beings have decided to call a two-sided object a triangle. Okay, Allah creates with three sides, with four sides, with many sides, and so forth. So that's not the point. So it's not a question here of what the person is saying. The question is that this type of argumentation, is a way people go astray. They talk about Allah without knowledge, and they talk concerning Allah and concerning the book of Allah without knowledge, like this, Ibn who wrote this article, and therefore they send people astray. They say things which they don't understand the meaning of. You see. So the best thing when people come across these things is just to put it to the side, not to think about it, not to respond to it, not to deal with it. Because all you do is that if you're not well-grounded in the Aqeedah, and not just, know the Aqeedah, alhamdulillah, I'm telling you all of the Aqeedah things around in general, but I'm saying well-grounded in Aqeedah, and well-grounded in the argument and the argumentation used by these deviants, you're going to try to put you in a way where you are going to be forced to respond to a question, and the question is invalid in the first place. And that's what they're trying to do. So the best thing I suggest for brothers just to avoid reading this stuff and avoid, coming into these arguments. All these are source leading astray. And this is something which is very important to understand. It seems that sometimes us, in our desire to give da'wah, and our desire to talk to people, we sometimes come across people with arguments and so forth. We should know that we are not responsible to respond to the arguments of everybody. This is for the scholars to do. Also, it is forbidden for us. Here I mentioned the five levels of worship and the five regulations. For the eyes, Ibn Qayyim mentions that it's forbidden to read the books of the people who are astray. And likewise, it's forbidden to hear the words of the people who are astray. No Muslim has a right to read a book of a Shia, a Qadari, a Khariji, or read the Bible and so forth, unless he is well-grounded in knowledge, he's a scholar. If he's from the general folk of the Muslims, it's the Qur'an and Sunnah. It's not your job to refute the Christian. Allah has raised in this ummah scholars to refute the Christians. Not your job to refute the Shia. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has raised scholars to refute the Shia, to read their books and so forth. If you're a student of knowledge, and you have reached a level of knowledge where you're able to take that on, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair. If you're a scholar, jazakallah khair. But as far as myself and the rest of us who are just common Muslims, we shouldn't delve into that which we have no ability to get into. What we should do is just stick to the Qur'an and know what is required for us to believe. And in general, know that anything which goes against belief is wrong,
and it's not for us to worry about. And that's just simple, inshallah ta'ala. So that's just a side point, inshallah, it brings benefits to people. Okay, since you mentioned that Allah created everything, please explain this with the relation to the belief that evil is not from Allah. Does it mean that Allah, when He created Iblis, he was not evil when he was created, but he became evil later on by Allah's permission? Now, Allah created everything, and in general, this is part of Qadr, and I'll discuss it later, but just to answer this question, that Allah's creation has not evil. I mean, for instance, the act of creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His act of creation has no evil in it. But the consequence of His creation might be evil. And this evil is not a total evil, it's evil only in one sense. I'll give you an example. For instance, a person who is sick, who is the one who created the illness in that person? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does Allah's act have any evil in it? No. As we say in the Dua Qanun, وَالشَّرُّ لَيْسَ إِلَيْكَ. Evil is not attributed to you. Evil is not attributed to you. However, though, illness is evil in sense of as an object to that person who is sick. And it's not fully evil, it's only evil in one sense, because if he's patient over his illness, he'll get a reward for it. So therefore, there is no evil in Allah's qadr in the sense that in His knowledge, in His writing, in His willing and His creation. The evil occurs from al-maqdur, that which He has created, the object which He has created. And it's evil only in one sense, and not completely evil in every sense. There's always some good there, whether we recognize it or not. Likewise, the cutting of the hand of the thief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed that the hand of the thief is cut. That is evil for him. But the command has no evil in it. Allah's command, there's no evil in that. It's only evil to the man whose hand is cut. And likewise, it's only evil in one sense. It's good in the other sense that it gets other people to not to steal, because they'll think that maybe their hands will get cut off also. And also for that man whose hand is cut off, it's good for him in the sense that if he's patient and he receives Allah's command with acceptance, it will be a kafar or expiation for sin of theft in this world, and will be punished in the hereafter. So inshallah, and this is part of Qadr, inshallah, we can leave that inshallah when we come to that. But I think,
Just a quick question.
Okay, this is the final question, inshallah.
Use this word Islamic ideology. Is this?
Say it. We should understand that there is a rule concerning talking about the Aqeedah. And that is, when we discuss any matter of the Aqeedah, we only discuss it, those words mentioned in the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Any other word outside of the Qur'an and the Sunnah, we look into its meaning. If its meaning is correct, we accept it. If its meaning is incorrect, we don't accept it. So here the term ideology not only is not in the Qur'an and Sunnah, it's not in the Arabic language. It's an English word, right? And this word might mean different things to different people. So we have to look into the context of the person who's using it. If a person, for instance, wants to say Aqeedah, and the best translation he knows of the word Aqeedah is ideology, because his knowledge of English and his knowledge of Arabic, and that's the best translation he wants to express Aqeedah, then it's okay. If he means ideology in the sense that ideology like Marxism and so forth, in this sense that it's not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's not okay. So one cannot be dogmatic concerning these terms, because unfortunately when people speak, say these terms are not from the Qur'an and Sunnah. We have also dissidents who speak in English, we're not speaking in Arabic, so therefore these meanings might mean different things to different people, and therefore somebody might use it in a correct sense, and somebody might use it in an incorrect sense. Depending on the context in which they use it in, we will then determine whether that this term can be used or not. But personally, after investigating this word ideology, I think that this word basically is not a good translation for the word Aqeedah. It's not a good word translation for Aqeedah. This is a personal opinion, and somebody uses it in that sense. This is just his choice. There's no haraj, there's no inshallah harm in that whatsoever. Allah is good.
It's not a question, it's just putting the context for you. How do they use this word ideology? We say a direct quote, two ideologies exist today: capitalism, Marxism, and Islam. So if you consider the context to use it.
Oh, inshallah. Inshallah, that's awesome.
In that context, is it allowed?
So what do they mean? Do they mean that three ways of life are used by people? I mean, this context is going to be in the mind of the writer of that statement. You see what I'm saying? Perhaps if there's somebody in the audience, who's an English scholar, they can determine for us if this context is a good translation.
Ideology is something which comes from the mind of...
I was trying to say, brother, that this type of word, like ideology or way of life, or any of these terms, whether it's not from the Qur'an and Sunnah, and therefore it can mean different things to different people. I can no way, when somebody tries to find a person to say, translate Aqeedah to ideology, right? I look at the context in which he's using it in. He might be using it in the correct context, he might be using it in the incorrect. I personally feel that you should use the word ideology. That's my personal feeling. You should not use the word ideology. It's my personal feeling. But that's based upon my knowledge of the English language. Perhaps somebody who is a scholar in English language will find that ideology is a term which is similar to synonymous to Aqeedah. So it depends upon, the person's understanding of the language and what the term means and how it's using it. And Allah knows best. Inshallah,
the next session is going to start after Lectures.us. We say about 6:30. So if everyone will come back for that.
To guide all of them. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to believe in Him and know Him, how does Allah do it? Allah reminds us of His creation. Yes. And that's an intellectual argument, right? But do we find Allah in the Qur'an using the arguments which were written by the philosophers like Aristotle and Plato in the Qur'an? Why? And also because they lead to false conceptions. Had these arguments been true and of themselves and had lead people to faith, Allah would have mentioned in the Qur'an. And like what Prophet mentioned it. So his statement that you have to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intellectually in the sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Qur'an says, yes, do they not reflect in the heavens and the earth? Yes, you have to reflect the heavens and earth. And subhanAllah, Allah has created all these beautiful creations and creation with great wisdom and so forth. How could this all come about without a creator? That's one thing. But the point is an argument of philosophy, right? That if there's effect, there must be somebody bring that effect, and if that effect must be there, it must be contingent or non-contingent, must be possible, implied, and all these arguments of Aristotelian theology and Platonic theology. This is not from the Qur'an and the Sunnah, and that's what he leads to. And that's what his Tahrir calls to. They take these arguments, they just sort of water them down. There's a difference between using the Qur'anic way of calling people to faith, which tells us to reflect upon the things which people can see, and using a way with the obvious things, all the creation can recognize, and using a way of the philosophers. That's the problem with the way of the philosophers, you see? So, intellectual here, which sense?
Again about HP, what is it that you think when we talk about some hadith that they say is not valid or is not...
No, they have an argument. They say that the hadith of the Prophet is two types. Those which are mutawatir, which means those hadith which have come with so many chains of narration that it's impossible to be a lie. And those hadith which are ahad, which do not have so many chains of narration, which there is a possibility to have a mistake in them. Okay, they reject all those other hadith. What we say that those other hadith fall under conditions. If the hadith has been proved to be truthful, then it's truthful. For instance, okay, in this room now, okay, if you have 50 people in this room now, said we saw at-Tamimi sitting on Thursday, wearing a red thing on his head, right? You would not be mutawatir in the sense that you would be so many of you that it could be that it would be impossible to be alive, according to some of the conditions set by some of the scholars. However, though, it's impossible with all these 50 people seeing me at one time. It's impossible for me not to have worn something red on my head that day. You see what I'm saying? They reject those hadith wholesale. And as a result, they reject all the sunnah of the Prophet in the end. And I spoke to one of the members when I came in lecture in April. He said to me, I don't believe that Allah punishes people in the grave. I asked him a question. I said, if Abu Bakr, one of the Prophet's companions, was sitting with the Prophet Muhammad and the Prophet told him directly, it wasn't 100 people, just so that he said there's a punishment in the grave for some people, would Abu Bakr have to